Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy Kevin. You're watching Hold Your Horses. And this week, I'm gonna talk about what is probably the biggest lie of the century: climate change.
All these insistent claims that they've been making that we need to take urgent measures now to deal with this unprecedented problem, they seem to be based on junk science. The IPCC at the moment stands or falls on its computer models. There is no other evidence out there that global warming is any kind of problem. It exists only in the imaginations of the people who program those computer models and the scientists who contribute to those. The theory that anthropogenic CO2 is a problem.
Whoa. Hold on. I'm not a climate change denier. You think I'm crazy or something? I'm just saying it's a lie, or at least half-truth, because in case you haven't heard already, the climate has already changed. It should be climate changed, past tense, okay?
Crackling wildfires, raging rivers, devastating storms. Global scientists warning that climate change and its devastating effects are on the verge of getting out of control. In the coming decades, temperatures will be hotter, extreme events more frequent and severe.
Climate change is a problem that is here now. Nobody's safe, and it's getting worse faster.
To sum up that news report in plain everyday language, we are in deep. A UN panel on climate change released a report recently sounding a code red for humanity. And here are the key takeaways. Humans are unequivocally to blame. Weather extremes that are already happening will only become more severe. Some changes are already locked in, meaning they're irreversible. And further warming could mean that in some places, people could just die from just going outside. Holy smokes! No pun intended. If we have to see the silver lining here, it's probably that climate change is threatening the survival of penguins who live in the Antarctica, because they're some of the biggest jerks in the animal world.
Oh, you pushed him!
Seriously though, the real silver lining here is that climate change could potentially bring together countries from all over the world. It's truly a global challenge that requires a coordinated global response.
Just one of the 86 wildfires across the West, destroying homes, damaging critical infrastructure, and forcing thousands to evacuate.
In western Germany, one of the worst hit villages, several homes collapsed due to flooding after the river there surged into a deadly torrent.
Satellite imagery is showing that Arctic sea ice is at its lowest levels on record.
And many countries are stepping up to the plate, rolling out ambitious plans and taking concrete actions to combat climate change.
China officially launched the world's largest carbon emissions trading market in the middle of July, after running pilot projects for over a decade.
From next year, vehicle importers in New Zealand will be required to bring in more climate-friendly cars or face penalties.
The European Union has proposed the world's first carbon border tax on some imported goods as part of its most ambitious plan yet to tackle the climate crisis.
But as with every collective effort, there's always that one party pooper.
So Obama's talking about all of this with the global warming and that, and a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay?
Of national attention, in case we have forgotten, because we keep hearing that 2014 has been the warmest year on record, I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball, and that's just from outside here. So it's very, very cold out, very unseasonal. So here, Mr. President, catch this.
Yo, that last argument is actually quite ingenious, because if climate change is real, then how are these still alive? Climate change denial, or at least the denial of human activity as a contributing cause, is particularly popular among a certain group of US politicians. But if you think these are just people who are, then think again. Fossil fuel interests have long helped finance the activities of climate change denialists, and it's particularly so in the US, where the power of big oil runs unchecked. In a study led by Robert Bruhl of Drexel University, researchers found that more than $2 billion was spent lobbying Congress on climate legislation between 2000 and 2016. In contrast, environmental organizations and the renewable energy sector each spent no more than 1/30th of such sums. You know what? I don't blame them. A profiteer's got a profit. Instead, I blame the environmentalists and renewable energy people. You all need to up your game, stop hugging trees, and start learning from the master of persuasion. If you fight climate change,
that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
Faced with such an unprecedented challenge to human society, politics, as usual, is just not going to cut it. Real leadership that can look beyond the financial and political interests of the moment is imperative. So far, some governments have done better than others at working to transition into a future away from fossil fuels toward renewable sources. But at the end of the day, global efforts to stop climate change won't be as successful unless all are on board. Climate change didn't happen overnight, so it won't be fixed overnight. But how the global community chooses to respond here and now certainly serves as a litmus test for whether or not humanity can prevail in this and even bigger challenges to come down the road.